Let me tell you about a guy named Robert. Robert spent 34 years working for the city of Detroit. He showed up every single day. He paid into his pension fund every single paycheck. No questions asked. His whole retirement plan, simple. Do the work, trust the system, collect the check at the end. In 2013, Detroit filed for bankruptcy, and Robert's pension, it got cut. Not slightly, not a rounding error. The city proposed slashing general employee pensions by 26%. Just like that, 3 decades of loyalty gone on a spreadsheet. Now here is the part that should make your stomach drop. Robert didn't do anything wrong. He didn't gamble, he didn't miss payments. He trusted the government, and the government blinked. If you are 40, 45, 50, or 55 years old right now, and your retirement plan is largely built on a government pension, Social Security, or some promise a politician made 30 years ago, this video is going to be one of the most important things you watch this year, because the numbers don't lie, even when the politicians do. I'm going to walk you through exactly what is happening to the pension and Social Security system right now, why the math is catastrophically broken, what real people just like you, have already lost, and most importantly, what you need to do today if you want to make sure you actually retire with dignity. Stay with me. This gets real fast. Here is what nobody tells you when you first enter the workforce. The idea of a pension, the idea that you work for 30 years, hand your money over to the government or your employer, and then they hand it back to you with a nice bow on it, was designed in a completely different world. A world where people retired at 65 and died at 68. A world where there were 16 workers for every single retiree. A world where the economy was growing at 4, 5, 6% a year. Basically, on autopilot. That world is gone. We are now living in a world where the ratio of workers to Social Security recipients has collapsed from 16 to -1 in 1950, all the way down to just 2.7 workers per beneficiary today. Think about what that actually means. You've got fewer and fewer people putting money in, and more people pulling money out every single year like clockwork. And on top of that, we're living longer. A 65-year-old today can statistically expect to live into their mid to late 80s. Some of you watching this will live to 90, 95, which means the government S-check does cover 3 years anymore. It has to cover 25 to 30 years of your life. The math was never built for that. So when politicians stand up and say, Social Security is fine, we'll protect it, I want you to remember this number 2033. That is the year the Social Security, Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund is projected to be fully depleted. According to the Social Security Administration, own trustees report released in 2025, not according to some doom and gloom podcast, according to the government's own accountants. And when that trust fund hits zero, what happens? The law says benefits get cut automatically by approximately 23 to 24% for every single person collecting, whether you are 68, 75, or 85. Doesn't matter how long you paid in. Doesn't matter how much you are counting on that check. The math overrides the promise. For context, the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget ran the numbers and found that a dual-earning couple retiring in 2033 could lose $18,100 per year in Social Security income, compared to someone retiring right now, per year, every year for the rest of their lives. Now, ask yourself, are you 45 right now? That means 2033 is 7 years away. You are not some kid who has 40 years to fix this. You are about to walk straight into a burning building, while everyone around you is saying the fire department is on the way. I want to tell you about Sandra. Sandra's a composite, but her story is built from real situations, playing out all across America right now. Sandra is 58. She is a nurse in a mid-sized city in the Midwest. She has been in healthcare for 28 years. She has a defined benefit pension from her state employer, and she has about $143,000 sitting in a 403B retirement account that she has contributed to here and there over the years. Her plan is to retire at 63, collect her full pension, maybe pick up part-time work, and then start Social Security at 67. Sounds reasonable, right? Maybe even comfortable. But here is what Sandra hasn't done. She hasn't looked closely at her pension plans, funding status, and when she finally does, when she actually sits down and reads the annual report for her state's pension fund, she finds out that her pension fund is only 68% funded. That means for every dollar the fund owes retirees, it only has 68 cents in the bank. This is not unusual. This is not a horror story specific to Sandra's state. According to Pew Charitable Trusts, the gap in state pension funding across the US has ballooned to well over $1.3 trillion in unfunded liabilities. States like Illinois, New Jersey, Kentucky, and Connecticut are running pension funding ratios below 50%. Below 50, they owe twice what they have. So, what does Sandra do? She doesn't panic. She assumes the state will fix it. Legislatures will raise taxes, cut costs, figure it out. That is what they always say they'll do. But here is the thing. Illinois has been saying that for 20 years. New Jersey has been saying that for 15 years. And the hole doesn't get smaller. It gets bigger. Because the obligation keeps compounding, while the funding doesn't keep up. Now take Sandra's situation and multiply it by millions of public sector workers. Teachers, firefighters, police officers, municipal employees, who are all depending on systems that are mathematically, structurally, almost certainly going to need to be restructured, cut, or deferred before they fully pay out. The question isn't whether some of these pensions will be reduced. The question is whether it'll happen before or after you've already retired. And if it happens after, if you've already built your entire budget around that check, then you're Robert from Detroit. Except it won TB 2013. It's LLB your retirement year. Now maybe you're watching this and thinking, okay, I don't have a pension. I've got a 401k. I am fine. Let's look at that. The latest data from Fidelity and Vanguard puts the average 401k balance for Americans in their 50s at somewhere between $192,000 and $253,000. The average, let that sit for a second. Financial planners will tell you that to retire at 65 with any kind of decent income, you need roughly 10 to 12 times your final salary saved up. So if you are making $75,000 a year, you need somewhere between $750,000 and $900,000. If you are making $90,000, you are looking at $900,000 to over $1 million. How many people are hitting those numbers? Not many. The data is brutal. AARP released a survey showing that 1 in 5 Americans over 50 has literally zero retirement savings. Not low savings, zero, nothing. And the median retirement savings for families approaching retirement age is around $87,000, according to the Federal Reserve's own survey data. So you've got a massive portion of the population right in that 45 to -60 window who are staring down retirement with a 401. That is maybe a fifth of what they actually need, and a social security system that might send them a check. That is a quarter smaller than what was promised, and possibly a state pension that is underfunded and could face restructuring. That is not one problem. That is 3 problems colliding at the same time, in the same decade, for the same generation. And here is what makes it worse. And I genuinely hate saying this. The market. 2022 was a brutal year. The average 401k lost about 20 to 23% of its value. People in their early 50s who were building momentum watched hundreds of thousands of dollars evaporate in 12 months, and many of them didn't fully recover before the next round of volatility hit. March 2025 again brought serious market turbulence, with the S&P 500 dropping nearly 10% in a matter of weeks due to tariff shocks and global uncertainty. If you are 55 and you lose 20% of your 401k, you don't have 30 years to recover. You might have 10. and sequence of returns risk, which is just the academic way of saying you can do everything right and retire at the worst possible time, is one of the most underappreciated dangers in personal finance. Let me give you a real number. If you retire with $500,000 and the market drops 30% in your first 2 years of retirement, while you are withdrawing 4% per year, your portfolio can be irreversibly broken, even if the market fully recovers afterward. You've sold shares at the bottom to pay your rent. Those shares never come back to your portfolio. That is a math problem that no government promise fixes. Now, for those of you watching from the UK, and I know many of you are, don't think for a second, this doesn't apply to you. The British government's own Department for Work and Pensions released a report in July 2025 warning that people drawing their state pension 25 years from now are set to be £800 per year worse off than today, retirees in real terms. The UK Secretary of State literally used the phrase tsunami of pensioner poverty to describe what is coming if nothing changes, and the UK already had its own near-collapse moment. In September 2022, when gilt yields spiked after the disastrous mini-budget, defined benefit pension funds across Britain came within hours of being insolvent. The Bank of England had to step in with emergency bond purchases to prevent the total wipeout of roughly 90% of UK pension funds, holding £1.5 trillion in assets. £1.5 trillion almost gone in 48 hours. Most people never fully understood how close it got, but the financial system quietly shook to its core, and retirees had no idea. That is what pension promises look like when they're stress tested in the real world. They're not stone monuments, they're paper boats. Let me be straight with you about something. Social Security can be fixed. The math is not impossible. You could raise the payroll tax cap. You could gradually increase the retirement age. You could test benefits for the wealthiest retirees. There are solutions. Economists across the political spectrum have laid them out in extraordinary detail. But here is the problem. Every single one of those solutions is politically toxic. Raise taxes. Half of Congress walks out. Raise the retirement age. ARP launches a $50 million campaign against you. Cut benefits for wealthy retirees. Wealthy retirees vote a lot, at a higher rate than any other demographic in America. This is why, despite knowing about the 2033 insolvency date, for over a decade, Congress has done exactly nothing of substance. Not one major reform bill. Not one serious bipartisan fix. Nothing. Because no politician wants to be the one who touched Social Security. And here is the honest math on time. Even if Congress started working on a fix tomorrow, right now, in 2026, any meaningful reform takes years to pass, years to phase in, and then years to actually impact the trust fund's balance. 7 years to insolvency sounds like a lot of time, until you factor in the glacial pace of Washington. So, do not build your retirement plan around the assumption that Congress will ride to the rescue just in time. That is not pessimism. That is reading the last 20 years of history accurately. Alright, I've hit you with a lot of heavy stuff. So, let me give you the other side. The part where you actually have power, because you do more than you probably realize. First, get honest about your number. Not the rough number in your head, the actual number. Log into every retirement account you have today. Add them up. Then go to a retirement calculator. Fidelity has a solid free one. And input your real savings rate, your real expected expenses, your real projected Social Security benefit, using the SSA's own My Social Security tool, and your real timeline. Most people who do this exercise for the first time have an uncomfortable conversation with reality. That is the point. The discomfort is information. Second, treat Social Security as a bonus, not a foundation. If it pays out at full benefits, great. If it is cut 23% in 2033, you already planned around it. If you are 45 to 55 right now, build your retirement model as though Social Security gives you 70 cents on every dollar you are expecting. Not because it will definitely be cut, but because if you plan for it and it doesn't happen, you retire rich. If you don't plan for it and it does happen, you're in serious trouble. Third, max out every tax-advantaged account you can touch. In 2025, the 401k contribution limit is $23,500. If you are 50 or older, you get a catch-up contribution that takes you to $31,000. ERAS give you an additional $7,000 with a $1,000 catch. Up, that is nearly $38,000 a year in tax-advantaged retirement savings. For someone over 50, are you doing that? Most people aren't. Even getting to 80% of that number changes your trajectory. Fourth, look at your pension's actual funding ratio. If you have a public sector pension, go find the annual actuarial report for your pension fund. It is public information. Look at the funding ratio. Anything above 80% is generally considered stable. Below 70%, you should start thinking about contingency plans. Below 60%, you need a plan B that doesn't rely on that pension being fully paid. Fifth, think seriously about working longer or working differently. I know that is not the message people want to hear, but working until 67 instead of 62 doesn't just give you 5 more years of savings. It means 5 fewer years of withdrawals. It can mean a significantly higher Social Security benefit. For a lot of people in their 40s and 50s, working a couple extra years, or transitioning to part-time consulting or freelance work in their early 60s, rather than full retirement, can be the single most powerful financial decision they make. The compound effect of that decision is enormous. And sixth, diversify beyond paper assets. This isn't financial advice, and I'm not telling you to go put your savings in gold coins under your mattress. But if 100% of your net worth outside your home is sitting in stocks, bonds, and a pension promise, you have real concentration risk. Real estate, income-producing assets, a side business. These things create income streams that don't depend on Congress, don't depend on a pension fund's solvency, and don't collapse because a Washington bureaucrat miscounted the trust fund balance. Look, I didn't make this video to scare you. I made it because I am tired of watching people in their 40s and 50s drift toward retirement on autopilot, assuming the system will hold together just long enough for them to be okay. Maybe it will, maybe Congress acts, maybe the trust fund gets shored up, maybe your pension fund manager turns out to be a genius. I genuinely hope all of that happens. But Robert from Detroit also thought everything was going to be fine. He worked for 34 years and trusted the system completely. And at 67 years old, he was sitting across from a bankruptcy attorney, being told his pension was going to be cut. The system is not designed to protect you. It is designed to process you. The people who retire with real freedom and real security in this generation are going to be the ones who refuse to outsource their financial future to a government promise and instead built something real on their own terms. You still have time, but the window is not infinite. And every year you wait to get serious about this is a year you don't get back. So take the information in this video seriously, do the math, make the plan, and share this with someone you care about who needs to hear it. Because I guarantee, at least one person who is sleepwalking toward this cliff right now. If this video helped you see something you hadn't seen before, drop a comment below and tell me where you are in your retirement journey. I read every single one, and hit subscribe. We cover this stuff every week, and next week we're going deep on exactly how to test your retirement plan before it is too late. I'll see you there.